Can you tell me the source of silk fibers? Is it a plant or any animal? It's an animal. This small worm called a silkworm gives us silk threads. But how can we get threads from such tiny creatures? And how many threads can this little one give us? Let's get to know the complete process by understanding the silkworm's life cycle. To begin with, the first stage is where the eggs are laid by the female moth on leaves. Which plant leaves are preferred by the moths? It is the leaves of plants like mulberry which are preferred. So the egg stage is the first stage. The next stage is where the eggs develop into larvae. Larvae are forms that appear somewhat like this. Yes, the worm-like structures. The larvae grow in size by feeding themselves on the mulberry leaves. So the growth in these is gradual. The growth stages of these larvae are also given a scientific name. The stages are called instar. In literal terms, instar means the phase between the two molting processes of the insect larva. So in this case, we can say the larvae grow into first instar, second instar, third instar, and so on till they feed themselves enough. Once the larvae are content with the amount of food consumed, that is the leaves, they enter the next stage. This stage is their resting phase. So for resting, all we need is a cozy cover around ourselves. Just like the blanket that we take while sleeping. Similarly, even these larvae try to make a cover around them. This is when they secrete slimy thread-like structures from their mouth. They swirl their head in all directions when secreting the threads. As a result of this movement, a thick coat of threads gets formed around their complete body. This coat is called the cocoon. Did you know that this cocoon is what is of great interest to us? Because it is this structure that will give us the silk threads after we process it. Once the cocoon is formed, the larva inside it starts resting and enters the next stage of its life cycle called the pupa stage. The pupa stage is where the organism is sessile, which means it does not usually move and it starts developing the organs which adult moths have. So here, the pupa rests inside the cocoon and starts developing into an adult. After it develops completely, the next stage, that is the adult stage, is reached. The mature moth is now ready to break the cocoon and fly away. This is the complete life cycle of a silkworm. So now can you tell me how silk is obtained from these animals? The cocoon is the main source of silk threads. Once the pupa develops into an adult and flies away leaving the cocoon behind, the cocoons can be collected and the threads are obtained. The threads in a cocoon are extremely strong. They are surprisingly as strong as steel threads. The processing of these threads further gives us the silk fibers. In short, these are the 4 developmental stages of a silkworm's life cycle. The eggs come first, then the larval stage, followed by the pupal stage, and lastly the adult stage where the mature moths fly out of the cocoon. But how and where do we get these cocoons from? Do we have to go to the forests where the mulberry trees are? Is there any other way to get them? The silkworms are reared in special farms. Rearing of these silkworms is a profitable industry by itself. The practice of culturing silkworms is called sericulture. Next, we will see this beautiful practice of sericulture and understand how silk fibers are obtained from the cocoons.